Okay, welcome, friends. It's the grumpy old man broadcasting on New Year's 1/1/2024. Yep, it's New Year's Day, January 1st, 2024 already. And, you know, like I said the other day, I got to make a little adjustment here. The older you get, the faster time goes by. And it seems like a couple months ago we were celebrating New Year's Day. I just and when I look back, like where did 2023 go? I didn't get half the things accomplished that I wanted to get accomplished. And a lot of it was during the summer, and we had a wonderful summer here. There were things I wanted to get done on the car, and it's the old, "I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow," and tomorrow never comes, and now I've got a problem with one car that needs immediate attention. Something that, you know, the dumbass could have taken care of months ago. But it's like, we're okay. We're okay. It's okay." I was doing a little rearranging in here and I bumped this monitor. That's better, I think. I think. Before we get started, I I want to go on a serious note. And to say that my heart goes out to the citizens of Japan. I was watching different news stories this morning of that earthquake, and it's sad to see the devastation in a matter of 30 seconds. And after they literally rebuilt these cities and towns because they all got destroyed when the last earthquake and then that nasty tsunami that they were finding ocean going freighters 10 miles inland. That's how strong that tsunami wave was. So my heart goes out to everyone that basically lost their life or was severely injured or lost a home. That's one thing that I'm thankful I've got a roof over my head. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of people over there right now that don't have homes. And they're still keeping their fingers crossed, with aftershocks and possibly another earthquake. They did get some tsunami waves, but they really didn't do any serious damage. But, looking at some of the news clips, they were showing, I don't know if it was a freeway or just a divided roadway where the road had moved a foot. You could see the line on the road, and then, where the split in the earth was, you could see the difference. So, that was a serious earthquake. So, I just wanted to start on a serious note. I have no connections to Japan, but it's just so sad that this happens, you know, after they rebuilt from the last earthquake. So, on that note, I'm kind of sad to say that I didn't get my 2 more subscribers. I was hoping this morning when I woke up and checked that I'd be at the big 30, but no, still sitting at 28. I was gonna come on and do a New Year's Eve show, but, I looked at all the other people streaming, and I was like, what am I gonna add to the event? I was up at 72, you just celebrate that you were here for another year, and, you're here I am, day 1 into the new year, hoping that things are better this year than they were in 2023, because I had some shit in 2023, believe me. Another thing, like I said yesterday, I was gonna do a broadcast from Studio A and test out my stereo microphones. Well, me and the crew got to thinking yesterday. Studio A needs a remake. So it's and not so much background wise, but equipment wise. So we're going to be tearing all the equipment apart, repositioning things, adding things, subtracting things, making it a little easier to operate. So that's why I'm not over in Studio A testing out and I showed you those twin stereo microphones. Well, we're going to be testing them over here in Studio B. Now, as I mentioned, everything in Studio A is all old school, what they call XLR 3-pin connectors. And those microphones need to run through what they call a 48-volt phantom power system through a mixer and an interface. Can't do that over here because all of these microphones are the new USB plug and play, like this one here. I had no setup. I had no wiring. I just took the USB connector, plugged it into the computer. When my YouTube studio shows up, I just clicked on Blue Yeti microphone, set to go. Just a matter of 2 clicks. But I got a phone call from a friend this morning wishing me a happy new year, telling me that he's going to make my day. I said, well, just opening my eyes this morning made my day. But how are you going to make my day? Well, he is sending me where's my note? A Polson XLR to USB audio interface. I said, what the hell is an XLR to USB audio interface? Well, basically, it's a device that's about this big. It's round. It's like about the size of this flashlight, okay? The XLR plugs in from the XLR microphones. The cable plugs into one end, USB into the other end, and it's a dual USB connector where it plugs in to the interface and into the computer. That's all it needs. When my YouTube studio comes up, I click on whatever microphone, and I can use those microphones in Studio B without having to have a mixer or a big interface box. So what I will be able to do is use some of the microphones over here. But I can't use these microphones over there because everything over there is set up with a mixer and an interface. You know, I've got my Behringer mixer and my Lexicon Alpha interface over there. So instead of waiting for everything over there to be taken care of, you know, all the rearranging of equipment to make it a little easier for me to operate, I'm going to be testing those stereo microphones right here with this magical device. You know, not a day goes by that I'm not amazed by some of the technology. Who would think? And he's dropping it in the mail tomorrow morning. I don't know if he's going to send it priority. I don't need to get it that fast. But once I get it here, I'm going to show you. It's about this big. About that big around. No need for, my 8-channel mixer. No need for my Lexicon Alpha interface. Just plug a microphone in and plug it in the computer and voila. So I can't wait to get that. He had a couple of them. So he told me, he says, "Hey, I don't need, 2 of these." So he says, because he's got 2 different brands. I can't remember. He's keeping the better one, the newer one, not the better one. They're both the same. He's sending me the Polson. I can't remember which one. I'll look in my notes because I got to write everything down. 72-year-old memory ain't what it used to be. I think. Oh, it's made by Blue, the maker of this microphone, which is a division of Logitech, but it's a Blue. It's called an Icicle, Blue Icicle, USB, XLR to USB, and it's white, a little white tube. They call it an Icicle. That's right. The Polson I'm getting is Blue, so I'll have a Blue mic made by Blue with a Blue interface made by Polson. He said they're the same. They're both what they call 48-volt phantom power. It's just his Blue Icicle he just bought. And I says to him, I says, well, if the Polson was working fine, why did you need to? Well, he's got everything he's got is made by Blue. All of his equipment, as far as audio, is Blue. His microphones, and he bought the Blue interface. He just likes to keep all of his equipment uniform. Where me, I don't care. But when he explained this thing, I said, I can't wait to get it. How this little thing is going to, but we're going to try it as soon as it gets here. Matter of fact, I checked today. I no sooner compliment the post office, and then I go in and I check tracking records. And it never ceases to amaze me. I ordered another one of these shock mounts for the Blue Yeti Snowball, the brushed aluminum one that I got the other day. I showed it to you. Well, to keep things looking neat, I ordered a brushed aluminum shock mount for the Snowball. Okay. It was shipped out of Plano, Texas. So it made the route and it got to Cleveland. Okay. It got to the main downtown. Then, for some unknown reason, instead of being shipped to my zip code 11 postal station, it got shipped to Garfield Heights. Now, I have a copy of the shipping label. It says zip code 44111. It means from 44101, which is the main downtown Cleveland, where all the mail is distributed from, instead of my shock mount being distributed to my postal station, it went to Garfield Heights for some reason. Sometimes some of the shipping methods that are used amaze me. And I'll tell you one that really amazes the shit out of me is FedEx. I think FedEx likes to keep all of their employees across the United States working, because I had a package that was coming from City of Industry, California. It went from City of Industry to Chicago, from Chicago to Cincinnati, Ohio, and from Cincinnati, Ohio, it went to Columbus. Now, from Columbus, you would think that it would come to Cleveland. Not. From Columbus, it went to Toledo. Then from Toledo, it finally came to Cleveland. That package got more mileage on it being misrouted. And this, that wasn't the first time I've had a package shipped like that from FedEx. They must use a shipping logistics dartboard, because that's the way the packages get shipped. Okay. For the title of the January 1 show, Traditions. We no longer have holiday traditions. And I'm not saying this for everyone, but I have noticed over the years traditions that we had in our family that many other, I'm not saying just our family had these traditions, but like we had certain traditions for Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Day. Christmas Day, the whole family would sit down and we would have ham and turkey. Even though we had turkey for Thanksgiving, we had ham and turkey for Christmas dinner, along with the other traditional items. And then New Year's Day, we always had pork and kraut. It was always a meal of some form of pork and sauerkraut, whether it be a pork roast or a lot of times my grandfather liked ribs, so he would do spare ribs and kraut. Well, my parents would do spare ribs and kraut, and then I started out. Well, as the family kind of goes its own way, so do the traditions. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I had kibasi and sauerkraut. I did not have a taste for kraut today. Plus, making it for one person. Now, they do have, the little cans of sauerkraut. You can still get the what they call single serve. I could have done that. But like I say, I had sauerkraut a couple weeks ago. But, first of all, back growing up, nothing was open on a Sunday. So if Christmas or Thanksgiving or New Year's fell on a weekend, if you didn't get everything you needed Saturday, you were screwed because nothing was open. Nada. You pull into a parking lot at a shopping plaza, there wasn't a car to be found. Empty. Even a lot of the mom and pop stores were closed on Sunday. Although they did have some areas had laws about opening on Sunday, but that's the way it was. And then things got changed and stores started opening on Sunday. And then it got to be the point like today. I had to run up to the store. It was like another day of the week. Of course, New Year's Day isn't that big of a deal. New Year's Eve is the biggie. New Year's Day, it was just families getting together having dinner. But like today, I had to run up to Mark's and just normal shopping day. Although the store manager up at the service desk where I checked out because I didn't have that many items, was wishing people, Happy New Year. But basically a normal shopping, it's getting to the point where holidays are just turning into normal days. And for me, it's been that way for years. Because I'll be the first one to admit it. I'm the asshole of the family. And when you're the asshole of the family, you don't get invited anywhere. Everybody's sitting back going, do we want that crab ass old asshole here? All he's probably going to do is bitch. No big deal. You get used to it. Don't bother me. Saves me a lot of driving, but do I sit and moan about it? Do I feel sorry for myself? No, I don't. It's 72. I'm just thankful I open my eyes in the morning. And after I open my eyes, I'm even more thankful that I can get my ass out of bed. So to sit and feel sorry for myself because I'm home, no big deal. No pork and kraut for dinner. I got me Van de Kamp's beer battered fish fillets. I'm on a fish kick. Yeah, the this is kind of strange, but I'll be on a fish kick until I start to grow gills, and then once I start to grow gills, I'm done with the fish. Now I don't order, I don't go out and buy fresh fish because it's a pain in the ass to prepare. Yeah, you get you know I could go up to, Seven Seas Seafood and get fish fillets. And then, you bring them home and you got to bread them and deep fry them or bake them. It's easier for me just to go in and get the bag, look at the air fryer cooking instructions. Oh, air fryer. I love that machine. It's not mine. It's Dale's. I use the shit out of it, though. One of the best inventions. Love it. A couple weeks ago, I was on a wing kick. Nothing like taking completely frozen chicken wings and in 15 minutes, done. And done to perfection. That machine is unbelievable. That same thing, Dale's got a convection toaster oven. I can do I love those Jiffy cornbread mixes. Preheat the toaster oven, the convection, mix everything up, pop it in the convection oven, and they're not that big. It's like the size of a small microwave. And in 13 minutes, I've got perfect cornbread. When he first got the thing, I was like, what the hell did another goddamn appliance taking up room on the kitchen counter until he baked a cake. He made a cake. It was delicious. I couldn't believe you could bake a cake in an air fryer. Now, for my bitch, air fryers have been out almost 3 to 3.5 years. They're new on the market, Although in today's technology, 3 years is like, oh my God, they've been out forever. But about 3.5, 4 years at the most. 90% of food items still do not have air fryer cooking instructions. Now, I realize that air fryers are like microwaves. But if you read the cooking instructions for a microwave, it will say microwave cooking times can vary. Why don't we have air fryer cooking instructions by now with a disclaimer? Air fryer cooking times can vary. I looked at a lot of frozen items over the last couple of weeks. And very few of them have air fryer cooking instructions. Now, I can tell you why. And it boils down to good old American corporate greed. Because it would cost them money to rewrite the cooking instructions and make sure it all fit on the back end of the package. And that is why, my opinion, we don't have air fryer cooking instructions on a lot of quick frozen food items like fish or chicken wings or, chicken breast, shrimp, whatever. Because it might cost them a few bucks to rewrite and add air fryer. You've got conventional oven and you've got convection oven and you've got microwave. Get rid of some of that other crap on the back end of the package and add air fryer. I don't need a picture of the fish fillet on the back of the box because there's a picture of the fish fillet on the front of the box. I know what it looks like. I've been eating battered frozen fish fillets for years. Fillets and fish sticks. I know what they look like. You don't need to have a picture on the front and the back of the box. If you took that picture off the back of the box, you might have enough room for air fryer cooking instructions. So what I do is I wing it. If the cooking instructions on this brand of fish fillets is not anywhere on the box air fryer, then I wing it with the other company's fish fillet instructions and figure, hey, the fillets are the same size, the batter is about the same thickness, And, if they're not done, you just give it another couple of minutes. But like the last last couple of weeks, I'm looking on the back of the boxes, and 90% of the different brands of fish fillets did not have air fryer cooking instructions. Come on, corporate America. Spend a few bucks. So that's my new tradition for New Year's Day. I'm having Gorton's beer battered fish fillets for dinner. And maybe some butterfly shrimp. I don't know. Maybe I'll combine and have a gourmet meal. And maybe I'll save the shrimp for another day. Because I got to wing it with the shrimp. There's no air fryer instructions on the shrimp. So I'll wing it. Because all it takes is one time. If I do them and say 12 minutes isn't enough, I'll give it another 2 minutes. And if 14 minutes works, then I just remember the next time I get butterfly shrimp, 14 minutes at 400 in the air fryer, voila, perfection. Kids nowadays, they see these pictures, from the 50s. Because around Christmas time, that's all you see is, pictures from the 50s of, the big, huge dinner table, and it's just food from one end to the other, and the family is all, dad's in a suit, carving the turkey, the old Roman, yeah. Roman Knockwell. Norman Rockwell painting of Christmas dinner. Not today. As a matter of fact, thinking about it, I didn't hear that much Christmas music being played in stores this year. I remember every store you went into had Christmas music playing. Especially if, now we're going way back, boys and girls, way back when we had Haley's, Higbee's, and May Company downtown. Haley's was up Euclid a ways. Higbee's and May Company were right on Public Square. And the window dressings in the stores, the people were marvelous that did the window dressings. And May Company and Higbee would kind of compete against each other to see who had the better window dressings. And, you walked into the store and there were Christmas decorations from one end of the store to the other on every floor. And Christmas music playing, and sometimes live carolers singing, in the store. it was a sight to behold. And then I can't remember who went out first. I think May Company, no, Halley's. Halley's went out first. That's when old man Halley passed away. And I don't know whether there weren't any kids or if they just didn't want to bother. We lost a tradition there because when Halley's went out of business, we didn't have good old Mr. Jingling, the keeper of the keys, Santa's workshop. Every workshop had a special lock, and Mr. Jingling had, he was the key keeper. Before, a couple weeks before Christmas, he'd show you a key and tell you a story about that workshop. Maybe it was the doll shop or the sled shop, and that was the big thing to go down to Halley's 7th floor, and see Mr. Jingling. But when Halley's went out of business, nobody continued that tradition. And the neat thing was, being a little kid, taking the rapid transit down, a train ride downtown. And when you would get out in what they used to call Union Terminal, it was the terminal tower. Underneath was the train station, Union Terminal. The first thing that you smelled was fresh roasted peanuts, because Peterson Nut Company was right on the corner of Public Square. And I'll tell you what, old man Peterson had a marketing ploy down. Instead of venting his nut roaster outside the building, he vented it inside. So all day long, that's all you smelled was fresh roasted nuts. And of course, you couldn't go back home without stopping at Peterson Nuts to get some fresh roasted peanuts or almonds or pecans or cashews. I loved cashews. The guy was smart, because as soon as you got off the rapid, the first thing you smelled was roasted nuts. And the store was always busy, even if it wasn't a holiday, because anybody going through Higbee's to get down into Union Terminal down to pick up the rapid, and then he not only vented into Union Terminal, he did vent some out onto Public Square. So as you were approaching Public Square, say coming from Lakeside, coming up Ontario, you smelled fresh roasted nuts. And if you were riding the rapid to go home, you always wanted something to snack on, so you had some nice fresh Peterson's roasted nuts. I haven't been downtown in probably 30 years. I would assume Peterson's is still down on Public Square and still doing the same thing. I'm going to have to take a trip downtown one day, just to walk around and see the changes. It's been a good 30, I'll say 35 years since I've been downtown. So I'm still remembering what it was 35 years ago. Something to do in the new year. Take a trip downtown and see what Public Square looks like. Kind of walk around Public Square and look at the buildings and reminisce like, okay, well, the casino is in Higbee's. I don't know what's in the May Company building. That and now that they've got a rapid station stop right a couple of blocks from the West Side Market. I'm going to take another trip down and wander through the West Side Market. I went down right after they finished the restoration, but I I only went like halfway. So one day I'm going to get up, take the rapid, get off at 25th Street, walk that couple of blocks over to the market, and take my camera with me and get some pictures. Too bad I don't have pictures of what it looked like back when I was a kid. Considering I grew up in that place. My grandparents only lived a couple of blocks from the West Side Market. And, Saturday mornings, Grandpa would pick me up and we'd go get our goodies and have our lunch. And Grandma would bitch because we were like heathens, just spread the butcher paper out on the table and carve away at pepperoni and cheese and rip off a hunk of bread. She always said, "Yeah, you and your grandfather are a pair of heathens," and he'd just laugh. Then during summer vacation, he'd pick me up a lot. He always had some kind of little project to do. If it wasn't for him, he taught me how to finish cement, how to pour cement. From setting up forms and mixing the cement, taught me carpentry. And I had to learn how to use hand tools before he would allow me to use a power tool. I had to master, hand saws and hand run drills. You cranked it yourself, drill a hole, either with a crank drill or what they call the bit and a brace. Once I mastered those, I got to use the power drill. And it wasn't cordless stuff back then. It was all plug-in. He taught me electrical wiring. Like I say, there were so many things that I'm thankful for because nowadays to call an electrician to change an outlet costs you an arm and a leg and one of my left nuts. But yeah, he's dearly missed. It was a dark day in my life when he passed. Because my father was lucky he knew a hammer from a screwdriver. He wasn't into. I couldn't wait during summer vacation for Grandpa to call and say, "Hey, tomorrow, we got some electrical wiring we're going to do." Oh boy, I get to electrocute myself. Or he taught me how to sweat copper plumbing. And for you young kids that don't know what that means, Google it. At 8 years old, I could sweat copper plumbing like a plumber or change a faucet. Yeah. I I looked forward to that. A lot of kids my age, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, they were like, "You're gonna do plumbing?" But, the neat thing was we'd have a project in the morning, and a lot of times he scheduled it for around a baseball game. And at that time, boys and girls, oops, friends, gotta drop the boys and girls. A bleacher's ticket at Cleveland Stadium was 50 cents. 50 cents. For $5, which, all right, back in the 50s, $5 was a lot of money to people. But for $5, my grandfather and I got to see a baseball game. We had hot dogs, we had peanuts, we had soft drink. It was a $5 day. $5 don't even get you a hot dog today. I don't even know what tickets are. I hear they're astronomical. I don't know how a family can go, and do an outing at the baseball game today, but yeah, for $5. And most of the time after the third inning, I don't know why the third inning, but after the third inning, the ushers in the stadium would let you go sit in the box seat. If a box seat wasn't taken and it was after the third inning, we could move from the bleachers and go sit in a box seat, which 99% of the time we did. But when I tell kids nowadays, for $5, we watched a baseball game and had a feast. They were like, huh? Yep. I can remember my grandfather saying, that was our $5 day. You did such a good job. He said, I didn't mind spending that $5 today. They say the good old days. Yeah, it's the good old days. Although kids nowadays are like, hey, we don't want to hear your old stories. And times were tough. I'll admit it. Times were tough back growing up in the 50s. You know, my parents always made sure that at the end of the school year, anything I could use for the next school term, we put away. Because, we didn't have them fancy backpacks and fancy notebooks and everything, the backpacks were something that they had in the Army. We didn't have no matter of fact, we had a book strap with a clasp on the end. It had teeth in it, leather strap like a belt. We strapped our books together. We didn't have none of these backpack things like the kids have nowadays. Well, with that, I'm going to end the New Year's stream. Hope everybody had a good New Year. Hope any of you that woke up hungover this morning had a nice stiff Bloody Mary. That always worked for me. Mix up a good stiff Bloody Mary with a lot of horseradish in it. Straighten you right out. And with that, friends, the grumpy old man will grump at you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.